Greetings. As promised, I'm here to do a little quick video because I have promised many of you who are newer either to reading tarot or who are like me trying to relate to a new deck that I've promised to go along with you on the little exercise that we ask you so often to do. Everybody asks to do, tarot readers, to get used to new cards, whether you're new to tarot or new to the deck, is to give it a little chance to get to know the energies of the cards. What's a good way to do that? We recommend doing simple 3-card draws, 3-card readings. Not necessarily reading. I don't think it's necessarily reading. We can call it a reading if you want to. But what we ask is something on a regular basis. When I was recommending to new people who really wanted to learn the tarot, who were having difficulty, I recommended that they pull 3 cards every day and put them out in the morning and just leave them out and see what energies come from the cards during the course of the day. Check in again at night and see if you have any relations to any of the energies. That's pretty difficult to ask a lot of people in a busy world. I can't do that really with everything else I'm doing. Of course, I already know I'm already a seasoned reader, so I don't really I'm not so anxious about the cards, but I do know very, very soon after opening up this Wildwood Tarot that we're going to see some differences in my regular reading using these cards. So I'm a little anxious to get to know it. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to do a weekend, because I think I can sometime during the weekend swing a 3-card draw on the weekend, and I'm going to share any of those that I find interesting or not. We'll see how that goes. I won't share every weekend probably, but the process is that I will use to try to get to know the cards. It's going to be a little different. Again, it's going to be a little different for me because I already have a basis. But I would say that for somebody who does not have a basic knowledge of the cards, you need to start with a little book that comes with the cards, or in this case it's a big book. Not to memorize meanings or anything else, but first of all to get to know the deck itself, because each deck might have something unique about it. Some decks are set up very much like a Rider-Waite deck. That's why a lot of people who are trying to help you learn tarot will recommend that you get a deck that at least corresponds with as much as you can with Rider-Waite, because once you have that as a point of reference, then you can spring off and go into other ways. Like I can read the Wildwood if I can correspond it to the Rider-Waite, which my Oi Polloi deck is based on a Rider-Waite deck as well. But I might be missing some of the meanings because the cards are coming from a little different energies, and that's why I'm doing this exercise. But it's a really good place for decks, because a lot of decks really do correspond really well. And not all decks that you buy, they might really resonate with the artwork or whatever, but none of them give you a lot of clues. Like the Rider-Waite really gives you a lot of clues in the card itself as to the meaning. So I had somebody ask me one of the questions about learning to read tarot. She says something to the effect of, do I have to go by what's in the book, or should I go by what I see on the card? Well, you absolutely do want to go by what you see on the card, of course, but it's always good to have a basic information of what the intention was with the card in the first place. But just because you do have an idea, each card has so many emotions and things associated with it. Like if you look in the book, you will see a list of, oh, how many words? Like that's a lot of words, and they're not all the same kind of thing. Like if you just, you know, So of course you have to go by your intuition. That's where your intuition comes into play, interpreting what you see. But you need that you need some kind of a basic something to know where to begin. Okay, and that's one of the reasons that I asked you to do this little exercise, this little 3-card exercise. I asked for 3. One is a little asking a little much of a card, because then you really have to know. Then you got to make a decision. Is this card about money, or is this card about my job, or is this card about my family? Whatever. You know, you're going to have to make a job and a decision. But when you have 3 cards, you have something, you have a grouping, you have a theme in front of you. And it doesn't necessarily matter if one means past, present, future, or one means, you know, this is a helping card, this is the focus card, here's the helping card, here's a hurt card, hinder card. It doesn't mean, or if these are just 3 cards. It's not that important in the beginning what they mean. It's just what energies are coming from those cards and how do they relate. The very fact that they're showing up at the same time in the same place gives you a clue of what the relationship will be. And that's why we say put it out and give it some time to feel the energies and come back. Okay, which is what I wish to do. Now, of course, I'm coming from a little different way, because like I said, I do already read cards. I do have associations right away, association of how many years, you know, 45 years or so of reading, of being familiar with the Rider-Waite deck. So that, of course, is going to come to mind when I see a card, when I see a card that corresponds. Like when I see a, well, you'll see in a minute. If there's a card that corresponds. The other reason to look, before I go on, the other reason to look at the little white book, or the little book, whatever it is sometimes you're going to find that the deck has, it's not in line with the normal thing. I believe, I don't know if I can even find the book that goes with my Wildwood deck, but I believe one of the difficulties I had to learn to read the Wildwood deck in the very beginning was that I believe it had some things reversed, where in most decks, like in the Rider-Waite, the correspondence with East or with Air is swords, and with South it is wands. And I think in the Wildwood that might have been reversed, that they have wands in the East, swords in the South. I'm not sure. Wands corresponding with air and swords corresponding with fire. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I put the book away and haven't really looked at the book in 40 years because it was just ridiculous to me, confusing. So if that is the case with your deck, I'm not sure what other people recommend, but I would say you got to make a decision. Either always have it the same, or you know, it really should not matter, but it will matter to you with your confusion, is what I'm saying, with your confusion. I don't think it's always necessarily a good thing to compare one deck with another in meanings. Again, I'm doing it because I'm so familiar with the Rider-Waite meanings, or with the Wildwood deck that I use all the time, that I can't really dismiss it. When I see, for instance, the 8 of Arrows, I think of the 8 of Swords. I see that image in my head right away, the 8 of Swords. And I'll show you that in a minute. So I can't really dismiss it. But so what my goal is today in trying to get to know this deck is what differences, if any, are present in the energies. Because after all, if I want to use a reading with the Wildwood Tarot, I want to try to be in the context of that, rather than bringing another deck in and using that for context. I really want to try to, you know, be true to where I am, if that makes any sense. Okay. But anyway, this exercise is just to help you learn, and what I would say is, if you want to follow the way I'm doing it, I just have doubt, and I realize I can't move the camera. I could move the camera, but I'm just not in the mood. I don't have lunchtime. It's not that important. I'll show you the cards that I've picked. And this way I can show you the corresponding cards and what I'm going to do. So what I did is I shuffled my cards and I laid them out. And I just have 3 cards. And my 3 cards are not designated any meaning. And for instance, I do not designate past, present, future. I do not designate the core of the problem and what will help it and what will hinder it. Nothing like that. It is just 3 cards grouped together. And those 3 cards are number 17. I don't know if you can see. It's not that important, but I'd like to share. Number 17 is called the Pole Star. And we'll talk about that in a minute. The second card I picked was the 8 of Arrows. And it also says struggle. And if you've seen any of my videos in the past, you've seen I've had this card before. It's a card that I really liked. And the Nine of Bows, which says respect. Okay, so those are my 3 cards that I'm going to deal with. I'm going to leave them here for the weekend and see what energies I feel. But because I'm not just trying to get to know the meanings, I'm trying to disassociate myself or try to differentiate between what I know about the corresponding cards in the Rider-Waite or the Hoi Polloi deck. I'm looking for differences. So right away, I'm going to sort of give myself a little bit of chance and look a little bit at the meaning, or where the intention of is the meaning. Now, if you're brand new to the cards, I think this is something not everybody recommends, but there's no harm in looking and familiarizing yourself with what the author of your deck has to say about the cards that you pull. But don't take it literally. Just, to get a little bit of idea, to see if this is a card that is indicating some kind of a struggle, or is this a celebration card or a difficulty card. That will help to know if you know that immediately. And then look at the imagery in the card. Okay? Now, the Pole Star, number 17, corresponds to number 17, the star, in the Rider-Waite deck. Okay? And this is called, in the Rider-Waite deck, it is called the Wish. It's often called, as a nickname, the Wish card. As you can see, the star is very large in the sky. And it's also like towards the light, heading towards the light card. I see the light at the end of the tunnel card, which means, usually indicates that there has been some kind of a struggle or some kind of difficulty or whatever. The time of, working, something that was taking a lot of effort, that time is finished, and it's time for a spa for the soul, they call it, a spa for the soul. Time to give your soul a little bit of a rest. You're going to have some kind of a wish fulfilled or something like that. Okay, so that's what it's about. It's just about, like, really a period of struggling ending. Now, when I look at the Pole Star, it's a little bit different, I think. Because the Pole Star, you see in the star is in the sky. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to look at the imagery. And right away I can see this a little bit different. This is all we see in this card is the star. Not all we see, but you can see how big that is. Okay? And also the person there is in a really beautiful place with water and, no inhibitions at all. The person is nude. There's no, feeling it very free and very relaxed. The difference in this card, I can see right away some kind of a difference, is because the star is there, but the star is in the sky. The heavens, it's the heavens getting some emphasis, but the person below is walking down a trail, trying to make its way through a trail of a very densely wooded, kind of scary looking forest. Whatever is happening with this person is, they're not at the end of things yet, right? They're not at the end of things. They still have a lot of trying to maneuver to get through a lot of this stuff. But the emphasis is on the heavens, is on the sky. And I think looking in the book, it's sort of, I'm just trying to recall, if I can, from my reading, the emphasis seems to be on things being greater, as great as your problems might seem, as great of difficulties as you might seem to have, there's something so much bigger beyond. There's so much greater beyond. And here this guy's looking down here this little pathway through the dark forest. But there's all this light up here. There's all this light shining down and having so much more of an impact on where he is below than anything he could have on his own. So it's sort of like, I believe, sort of an encouraging card, saying not just that your wish will be fulfilled, not necessarily, but maybe no matter what kind of problems or stuff are going on around you right now, there is such a master plan, or there's like a greater force, the universe at work, trying to keep things in line, maybe. Which is kind of a cool card to be happening right now, if this is true, in my spread. Okay, I'm not going to make any conclusions, but I'm just going to feel around for the energies, this kind of energy this week and this weekend, and see where I might see where this the pole star is coming into my life this weekend. Also, isn't that kind of cool, because we're right on the eve of the eclipse, so that's kind of cool too. I just want to put that in. Okay. So the next card that I picked up was the Eight of Arrows, and it says struggle. And I've had this before. I brought up this comparison before in another reading. It corresponds, of course, with the Eight of Swords. And you see that right away, this is one of those differences I'm talking about, that you have to familiarize yourself with the deck. Excuse me. Here we have swords in the east, representing air. Here we have arrows in the east, representing air. There are no swords in this deck. Okay, there are no arrows in this deck. So that's just the difference right away. I find this really cool, because this is one of those things. I don't know if you saw one of my earlier videos, but you might have seen my earlier one. I discovered that my house was sort of set up already like a giant altar. Without planning it, it sort of did. This is the room in the east of my home, where we do the readings. This is my parlor that I'm in right now, and one thing that we keep in here all the time are our arrows. We store, because both of us in the SCA haven't done it too regularly in the recent years, but archery, both of us shoot archery. And our bows our arrows are in here, which is kind of interesting. Maybe not. Anyway, the difference in these cards, what is the difference in these cards? Indication, excuse me. I'm taking a drink of my very delicious jalapeno grapefruit, it's a grapefruit jalapeno margarita. And it's very delicious. Excuse me. This card came up before, and I'm going to go backwards a little bit and tell you about, first of all, the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords, it talks about, this woman here who's blindfolded, and she's in the middle of all of these swords, and she's unsure, unsteady where her feet are on the ground, if she stays there. It talks about that fear of, the feeling entrapped and fear of failing. She's afraid to take a step or try to get out of there, because for fear that she'll misstep and fall down in the water, or maybe run into, she's blocked on all sides. And, she's just sort of paralyzed in her place right now. And I said this before, that I liked so much, because the difference between this card right away is kind of obvious when we look at the Eight of Arrows, because this woman, I think it's a woman, is plowing through, going through, obviously, a struggle as well. There's all kinds of arrows and broken arrows and things laying. Her clothes are tattered and windblown, and it looks very, like the area is very cold, stormy, whatever. And so the struggle is real for her. The struggle is more, but the difference here is she is letting the struggle, letting the fear of what might happen sort of keep her frozen, where this person is plowing through and seeking help. She seems to be following the water to see, maybe there'll be somebody to help her, or something, or a way out of there. She seems to be going, and she's really well equipped to get out of there. This woman can't see her way out. If she would take her blindfold off, she would be able to see. her way out. But this woman is very well equipped with a lantern, and she's got nice warm clothes to protect her, and she's got short shoes and a good walking stick, good sturdy walking stick. So she's really well equipped to find some relief for her struggle. So she's more trusting upon herself, or being sure of herself than this woman. You see, same cards, two different deck, a little bit of a different twist. That's what I'm saying, that you want to be familiar. What is your deck? What is the twist of your deck? Finally, the last card is, it's called the Nine of Bows. It has respect, and that corresponds here with the Nine of Wands, which is from the South, corresponds with the South, corresponds with the passion of fire. And this person in the Rider-Waite or deck has all kinds of assurances. He's a very determined person. He feels equipped to handle whatever is going to happen to him. He's very determined. And it's like his determination is going to see him through. That's kind of the twist to this card for me, right now at least, today. Where I'm looking at this card, and this man has a great respect for whatever he has to face, the word respect. And this is sort of like, you know, he's basing his ability to fight whatever he needs to fight, to face whatever he needs to face, on his own ability, on his marksmanship, maybe with his bow and arrow, on his ability. He's very determined in his face, like his ability to take head first whatever's going to come at him. But it's like he wears his experiences, he wears those as a badge of honor. Respecting things that have happened to him in the past, he's learned from the lessons he have learned based on what is in the past. This guy, more like, I think I've got what it takes. This guy, I've really kind of learned what it takes. Crouching below, keeping undercover, waiting for the perfect time to make his move, right? Do you see the differences in the, perspective? That's what is one of the things that's very, very cool about tarot. And that's one of the things you can't get out of the book. You can only get really from the imagery. I mean, you can get it from the book, but you can't trust it until you can see it in the imagery. And that's what we talk about when we say that. Look at the imagery, and what do you see? What do you see? When I put these three cards together, they kind of make sense in a way, don't they, before I even go further, right? There's some kind of a struggle here going on, or there has been going on, but this person is more than ready to face it and get out of there, right? And using everything that she has around her to do so, including her experiences, her challenges, the lessons that she's learned in the past, and also knowing that there's some greater force at work in the universe. That same force that created everything is still there watching over everything, still there ready to take action. We can trust in this. We can trust in that. We can trust in, we have something to trust in a little bigger than ourselves, perhaps. I'm not sure. But anyway, this is the kind of a way that I would approach a 3-card reading. I'm going to just leave them out for the weekend. And I'm going to see if any other energies that relate to the energies in this card make themselves known to me. And that's how I get to know my deck, okay? So I don't know if that helps you or hurts you or makes you crazy or not. I don't mean to make anything more complicated than it is. But, you know, don't be afraid of your cards. Get to know your cards. Handle your cards. Oh, and I also want to say, the other thing that's one difference between these cards, which kind of makes a difference in the reading, is I do read reversals in both the Rider-Waite and in the Hoi Polloi deck, but this Wildwood Tarot does not seem to indicate any kind of reversals. the lessons in the cards are very tied up to the journey through the Wildwood. And so if I were to have a reversal and I wanted to read a reversal, I maybe would just say, you know, read it as something that might take more time than it might, you know, or something that the strength of the card might be lessened or that kind of thing. But I wouldn't really read a reversal. But of course, that's maybe more information than you want to know. I don't know. Anyway, I hope this helped. I'd love your comments below. I will add this up to, just because it's a tarot thing, I will add it to, I guess I will add it into the tarot tips playlist, in case somebody is not interested in tarot at all. Well, then they will know not to bother with this thing. But anyway, any questions on this, please, again, email me at goodwife@cox.net to make sure I can answer your question, because I'm not always really good at finding the question if you send it through here. Okay? So anyway, thank you very much for watching, as always. I'm the Good Wife. Hi, Rebecca. And I wish you blessings.